There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits, or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.
Taking a look at NZD CAD, we can see on the week we are up 0.38% floating profit. Taking a look at GBP CHF, we can see we have still not taken a trade. Looking at USD JPY this week, we have no action. Taking a look here, that's a demo, ignore that one. At AUD JPY, we are up 2.15% this week after taking some losses the following weeks, which we'll talk about in the MyFX books in a minute. AUD CHF, we can see that we have no trades on the week. AUD NZD, we can see we are in trades on the week, currently in about 4% floating drawdown, but we are in trades and growing there on AUD NZD. Taking a look at CHF JPY, we can see that this account, as we know, did blow a long time ago with a little $500 account. CHF JPY became worst performing pair after that. Its first losses were triggered back in October, and since then it had started to perform and make money back just to lose it all. Account's gone on that one. So CHF JPY, a worst performer. CAD CHF as well is not taking any trades. CAD JPY, as we know, has also been in the worst performer category for a while. Currently is in some drawdown, had hit some stop losses, it looks like. Let's go over here the last 3 months. You can see, yep, 2 stop losses right here in March on CAD JPY. USD CHF, as we can see, is up 3% on the week and in floating profit currently. AUD USD has done 1.68% on the week. Euro AUD, we have no open trades. Euro JPY, we are in a negative 23% floating, meaning that we took some losses. Stop losses, we'll take a peek here at the account history to see that. Let's do the last 3 months. And we can see we've railed 3 stop losses here on Euro JPY. This account's taken quite a hit, but it's still alive, it's still running, and it is going. Euro CAD is in 5% floating drawdown right now. Euro CHF is in 1% floating profit. Euro USD is in negative 2% floating profit currently. Taking a look, GBP AUD did 4.8% this week, floating profit, closed trades. That's a good week for GBP AUD, as it doesn't take trades that often. GBP CAD, as we can see, does not trigger a trade over here on this account. GBP JPY has not triggered a trade over here on this account. GBP NZD is currently not triggered a trade and out of all trades. GBP USD has not triggered a trade and is out of all trades, as we can see. Continuing on here, we see NZD USD has not taken a trade this week. We see USD CAD is in 3% floating profit and in more floating profit trades right now. GBP CHF has not taken a trade. Euro GBP has not taken a trade. And NZD JPY, as we see here, is in some drawdown, about 13%. Euro NZD is up 5% on the week. AUD CAD is up 0.77% on the week. So we took a look at our accounts in our one pair MyFX books. They're all running on swing. CHF JPY is very due for a reversal as you look at a chart. So all you can really do is hold on or decide to cut the losses if you're uncomfortable. It's really the best thing you can do in scenarios like that. So when we take a look at the one pair accounts and we come over here to absolute gains, we'll see that USD CAD and GBP AUD are continuing to lead the way, and AUD USD and GBP NZD and Euro USD and NZD. Now let's talk about it. The JPY pairs, right? They've become terrorists. CHF JPY we fully eliminated. We knew that. AUD JPY became the worst performer a long time ago. So did CAD JPY. Now Euro JPY was indeed one of our best performers, but recently it got into some trouble during these election periods, and you can see that we went from up 58% on this little $500 account to losing all the profit but 4%, and yeah, that happened. We got a 40% drawdown. So what does that mean? That means on the GearBox Manager that was rolled out this last weekend, that we did some increased entries on many things. You'll get an updated chart this weekend on the updated entries, but Euro JPY's entries were increased, as were many of the other pairs that have been a problem, such as CHF JPY, AUD JPY, CAD JPY. Many of these things were moved up and they were enhanced. Some of the CHF pairs, CAD pairs, we really looked at the drawdown, because that's what we always do when we increase entries over time, is we look at what performs the best and what's produced drawdown on a $500 data account. Because again, these are all live $500 accounts, and we use them to optimize, because our belief is if one pair can trade a $500 account in the different market conditions and stay in under 25% drawdown, that's a good setting. If it gets over 25% drawdown, we have to increase the entry. If it gets in over 50% drawdown, we have to increase the entry. If it gets to 60% drawdown, the pair turns into a worse performer and gets eliminated. Even over 50 normally we eliminate. So many of these have made it into the worst performers, and they will continue to make it to the worst performing categories as they continue to be troublesome many times. But with that being said, let me go back to our chat and see where the questions. Yes, the manager got updated on Friday, but there will be a new chart for optimized pairs and entries rolling out today or tomorrow morning with that GearBox Manager update that was rolled out. As well, we are working hard and diligently on the brand new GearBox Pro and GearBox updates, as there's going to be some big features and enhancements coming to GearBox to prevent losses, including a base currency filter and a quote currency filter. Example how this would work is, let's say, let's go to a VPS. We'll just go ahead and use any VPS. Let's just go to this one. So let's say, for example, Euro USD here is in open trades. We're going to add a filter called a base currency pair filter, and you can put a number on it and say only allow this many base currency pairs to take a trade at the same time. So if Euro USD goes to enter a trade, and let's say Euro AUD goes to enter a trade, and you have that filter set to 1, it's going to block it, because even though they're not correlated, they have the same base currency pair. We're also going to add a quote currency pair filter, which would be, say, the USD part here. So let's say Euro USD opens a trade, and then let's just say AUD USD goes to open a trade. If you had set that base currency filter to 1, it would block it because, again, it has a similar, or a quote currency filter to 1. It would block it because the quote is also set and already open. So this is something that you're going to be able to put 1, 2, 3, 4 on. It's going to come by default off, as it is a new feature that will change the way the software works. But for those of you who want to use it and turn it on and change the number, you're going to have full control of that. That'll be a GearBox feature for all versions of GearBox. As well, there will be GearBox Pro coming out in the very near future with a lot of cool custom new features built in to the software, such as a range multiplier that resets on the first real trade. And if you don't know what that means, then chances are that's why that feature's in GearBox Pro, because it is not for you. But for those of you who know what that means, yes, the range multiplier will reset on first real trade entry with one of the features in GearBox Pro that's coming. You'll be able to turn it on and off. We're going to have a GearBox manager that actually is changing all of the entries based on market data constantly. That'll be a GearBox Pro feature. The regular one will still be manually updated based on math and optimizations and market conditions from the one pair data accounts. The GearBox Manager Pro will have changing levels and updates every week based on market conditions and data, as it's going to read all the currency pairs and look at their average true range through time on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis and optimize based around that. So there's a lot of cool things in the works. Those are some of my exciting things that I'm excited about. But there's a lot of things we're testing and working on, including max levels close all. So unlike a equity protector on your account where you say close out if I ever get in this much drawdown, well, what if it's just one pair that's troublesome? So let's say you got into Euro USD and you entered on level 4, and you go, if Euro USD gets to level 7, just close all my trades, meaning close 4, 5, 6. As soon as 7 would have opened, just close them all. You'll be able to have that feature as well in GearBox and GearBox Pro. That's something else we're working on, is a max level close all. It'll be off by default and set to 0 by default. But for those of you who want to use it and maybe play with it, you can. Again, I'm not going to really educate on that one because that's a super custom enhanced feature. I may only actually release it in GearBox Pro because it is something I see somebody putting a stupid number in and then complaining when their trades close. But again, going to be really excited for that too, because again, just things to help you manage your risk better in different scenarios. That's always my goal. Avoid risk, increase profit, decrease risk. Increase profit, decrease risk, and provide as much user control as possible. So we're continuing to work on that, continuing to enhance that, continuing to bring the best of the best to the GearBox product line to allow you all the customizations you want to have. So lots of crazy cool updates. Excited for those to come very soon as well as many more things that we are testing and ideas, features we're always enhancing. But I have a big plan for a huge rollout of lots of new GearBox updates here very, very shortly that have been being worked on behind the scenes. So, can you talk about the feature that will enable trading during consolidation? Jock, I'm not sure what you mean. You can enable trading during consolidation if you want. It's not a feature that's just going to start taking trades during consolidation on its own. There's features that will allow you to make more profit during consolidation, but it's going to be up to you to use them. I'm not understanding your question, Kaluma, on I could still have 2 pairs open. One is the base and one is the quote. You can have more than 2 pairs open because, again, if we go back and let's just take a look at data here. When you take a look here at everything going on, all right, so you'll see, let's say AUD CAD and AUD CHF want to enter a trade and they have the same base filter, it's going to go ahead and block that because they have the same base, right? They have the same base, so it's going to block that. All right, now let's say you go to AUD USD and AUD NZD again, it would block it because they have the same base. All right, so you could still have more than that though because there's more bases. So, if we go over to look at symbols, all right, and if we take a look here, there are different bases, there are different quotes. So it could be any different mixture. So the goal is to try to block. Now, again, you may not want to set the number as 1 because that would block a lot of trade opportunities. But for example, you could be in USD CAD, you could be in Euro AUD, and you could also be in, let's say, GBP NZD. Those all are different. That would fulfill your 3 max pairs, and none of them touch each other. They all have different quote pairs. They all have different base pairs. So you can see that possibility does exist for you to end up in more than 2 pairs at the same time, even if you left the max base and the max quote as 1. You could still end up in 3 or 4 max pairs at the same exact time. So it wouldn't be, it would restrict open 1 per. Yes, but as a minimum, I can't restrict just 1 open per currency, regardless of base or quote. If you wanted to restrict to just 1 open, I'm not understanding your question. Base or quote would allow you to restrict that. The only other restriction you can do in the software is your max pairs trading at the same time, which already exists. That feature is already existent right here as max pairs trading at the same time. So I'm not really understanding the question or what you're trying to ask there. Jock, for GearBox Pro, it's not that there will be optimal settings. The optimal settings will be the same settings that exist now. GearBox Pro will be for advanced users who really know what they're doing and want to make their own customizations. There's not going to be... GearBox Pro is not something I would sign up a normal person on, to put it to you this way, unless they're an advanced GearBox user. The GearBox Pro versions coming out is only... if I only want to be in 1 trade per currency and I set filter to 1 each, I can get in Euro, USD, and USD CAD because 1 is base and 1 is quote. That is correct. When do I expect the Pro version to be released? I cannot give you any ETAs, and I do not like to give people ETAs because the one thing I've learned about developments and features, there can be bugs, there can be things, there can be delays, there can be timelines. As a developer, I'm not the person who's going to tell you it's coming soon, it's coming next week, and then a month later you're still asking where it is. That's not going to be me. It will never be me. So we'll keep a good rhythm there. Just know that we're working on it, and as I get more updates, I'll continue to update you guys on these weekly calls. If you only want exposure on USD on 1 trade, is that possible? Well, in that case, no, because again, Euro USD and USD CAD are different base and quote. The only way that would be possible is if they were also correlated. So in this case, are they correlated, right? And if they are correlated, then yeah, you would only be trading 1. But there's not a filter to block that too. We have a quote, we have a base, and we have a correlation. I don't know how many more filters I can try and give somebody, right? The only way you would be able to do that is if you manually did it. Meaning that once you opened a USD trade, you paused all the other USD trades from taking trades. So, how you would do that too if you wanted to is after you opened a USD trade, you go to all the other ones that say USD, and you would be able to hit pause right here on new trends. So you just hit this button, no new trends, and that would be how you manually handle your exposure to USD and keep it from happening if the quote and the base and the correlation aren't enough for you. Yep, you just hit pause and it'll say no new trends, and then that's how you can fully guarantee no extra exposure to the market that you aren't looking to achieve. And yes, Jock, as of last week, people should reapply their strategy to update the gears. We're pushing that update today with the new updated chart, with the entries, as well as some more details. You also will see a feature in the manager that is not active yet in GearBox. It's not even going to be in regular GearBox. It's a pro feature. Dominic alerted me that the manager had the option to reset the level range after the first real trade. It was already in the manager. Don't worry about that. It is not functional and does not exist in GearBox yet. It was in the manager update as we were testing it and we rolled it out. But that'll be a GearBox Pro feature. But just to give you a sneak peek that they are being worked on and they do exist, you'll see it there. But with that being said, let's take a look at the week ahead and what we have going on next week. So Sunday, we have a French presidential election. So that could be a surprise on market opening on Monday for some different things for the euro pairs. So maybe expect some gaps in the market going into Monday. If you're in any euro pairs, that is possible. Tuesday seems we have CPI and core CPI. We also have NZD red folders. We have GBP red folders. Wednesday, we have USD PPI, Canadian. Oh, we got a lot of red folders this week. Look at this. This is a great red folder week. Canadian red folders, AUD red folders, more European red folders, more USD red folders. We got a red folder week in the house. With that being said, and based on the current time we're still living in with potential times of war and World War III and Ukraine war and lots of things going on, I would stick to sniper, maybe decrease your risk to 0.01 per 1500 to 2000. If you're going to stick to swing, definitely go 0.01 per 1500 to 2000, even 3000 if you're a super conservative person but refuse to go to sniper. There's definitely a lot of red folder news, nothing to be too crazy or worried about. But again, during times of uncertainty, it is always best to decrease your risk and exposure to the markets. But with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are calling in from. I know many of you are calling in globally. It could be any time where you are right now, so I appreciate you spending this time with me every single Friday and taking the time. But with that being said, very excited for all the new updates to come to the GearBox line, including updates to the Pro line coming soon, as well as the regular line coming soon, more manager enhancements, more tools, more data. A lot of good stuff's coming, and soon a whole new suite of educational videos from me, because I know we have the AP Academy and the EA Academy with tons of information, but I'm very excited to refilm pretty much that entire suite of videos very soon with new data, new education, and help the newest person have the most success with this product. But with that being said, thank you all for your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening or morning or night if it is nighttime where you are and you're about to head to bed. So again, we run a global business, so I appreciate every single one of you, and talk to you soon.
There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.